Well, welcome to the Friday Bubble. I'm lucky to have my co-star back with me again. Welcome, Essi.
Thank you.
Today, I'm taking you to Epinay. Pol Roger, they're one of the first 2016 in the markets. And for those who can't remember, they're based right in the heart of Epinay. And they own much of the Avenue de Champagne. And just over the last 30 or 40 years, they have slowly sold some of it off. But they still own a huge parcel of land there. So they're right in the heart of Epinay. They have beautiful cellars, some of the deepest in Champagne, and it's now controlled by the fifth generation of the family. 1849 was when they started, and Hubert de Billy is currently the managing director of the business. And the sixth generation has already come into the business. So it's a fascinating company. They've been spending a lot of money on their cellars in recent years, Essi.
That's right. I'm really looking forward to visiting the new facilities.
Right, so we've got lots of things to look forward to. It's made reductively, and so it's made without oak. And I'd like Essi just to perhaps take us through the vintage, really, because 2016, this is one of the first of the big houses that we've seen on the market.
Yeah, that's right. It's brand new now, the 2016's on the market. I've so far tasted only the bottle, not yet the Magnum, so I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, 2016, I'd say that it's one of those more classical, as we now like to say, vintages, you know, amidst these very warm years that we've been experiencing a lot in the last 20 years. So actually a very, very challenging growing season.
Right.
Everything possible happened, you know, the spring frost was quite significant, cutting the volumes. Mildew pressure was high, well, especially in the Ob, but everywhere a little bit. But then we had a very, very hot July and August, and there was actually significant sunburn, which even further, touched the volumes. So when these wines actually we tasted as base wines, they already surprised with their good quality. So in general, the health of the grapes was good. The wines tend to have this sort of forward fruitiness often, but lovely acidity. So they do actually come across to me more as cool vintage as a warm one, despite all that happened during the summer.
So this was about mid-September, am I right, for the harvest started?
Like that, yes.
So it's quite a nice year. Am I fair to say, haven't tasted enough yet, is it fair to say it's similar in style to 12s, where they have that forward fruit?
No, I think 12s are much more powerful. They're really intensely fruity, and I think the acidity is also more concentrated on them.
So I'm going to let you have a taste. This is 60 Pinot Noir, so 40 Chardonnay, and Pol have 92 hectares of their own vineyards, so a reasonable amount of this is from their own vineyards, and then some contract with some growers as well. As I said at the beginning, it's made reductively, so there's no contact with oak. It goes through full malolactic. My initial little smell of it, it has got quite beautiful fruit.
Yeah, it has really lovely fruit. Very peachy, creamy peachy, with a whiff of toast and a flick of vanilla as well. Actually quite delicious.
So it's 40% Chardonnay, but it's really shining Chardonnay today.
Yeah.
And here we are on one of the hottest days of the year.
Yeah.
It's a perfect moment to be.
Yeah, and Chardonnay was actually the challenging variety in 2016, reaching its ripeness. There was a lot of unevenness there, so it's really nice to see it shine so well.
Dosage is quite light, it's 7 grams on paper. It seems beautifully balanced, I have to say. You've got that lovely rich fruit, mainly yellowy fruits I'm picking up, maybe a bit of red currant or something on the palate comes through. Really, really seamless. There's a sort of silkiness to it.
Yeah, definitely. I love the texture on this one. There is like fullness to it. Fullness, creaminess, softness, very cushiony mousse.
And there's a sort of vanilla-y custardy.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
you picked it up in the aromatics.
Yeah.
There's that lovely.
Yeah, I must say that it's one of my favorites of the recent Pol vintages. Really nice. So I'm really looking forward to the Magnum now.
Now I should have made this easy for myself because, there we go. It's come off a bit cleaner this time. So they have some of the coolest cellars, which is fascinating. So second fermentation is 30 metres below ground. 9 Celsius, perhaps some of the coolest second fermentations take place.
Yeah.
So that must have
Which
some
can-
impact.
Yeah, it should, especially to the mousse, I would say.
Right. So we often talk about Magnum effect, Essi.
Yes.
You're going to be the first to comment on it.
Wow, beautiful.
Does it have some?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
It doesn't have that same that sort of softness in the aromatics as the first one.
Yes.
But definitely much more complex. That toastiness, a bit of gunpowder is coming out.
Yeah, there's a real smokiness to it.
Really, really quite different. I love them both actually, but very different.
Somehow you can tell it's younger. You know, it's got that. I'm getting more lemony richness out of it at the moment. Wow, the texture's beautiful. As far as I know, and I don't know this for sure, these were probably disgorged quite similar times.
Yeah.
So they haven't given it any longer lees aging, which sometimes happens. The texture though is soft and chalky and
Yeah. For me, this one, I want to put this in the cellar. Definitely, the second one, it really comes across more structured.
Right.
Whereas this has this sort of immediate cushiony appeal. This one, feels more vertical to me. More of that Chardonnay backbone and more muscle around.
Now, in terms of style over the years, to me, I loved some of the old vintages of Pole, and I'm going to compare this back to a previous vintage and see whether Essi might do something similar. I love the 12s and the 13s of Poles because they had that fresh, 13 particularly had all the beautiful acidity in it.
Yeah.
And this is a 12 and 13, is it?
Yes.
A 12 and 13 blend.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Now, if you go back and do a quick comparison, Essi, what are you thinking?
Yeah. I'm surprised how good the small bottle is.
Right.
Of course, I always prefer the Magnum. It's a no-brainer. But this time, I'm super happy with the bottle even.
And just so we've got some numbers, Essi tasted this at the Maison a month or two ago, and it was scored 93 to 95.
Yeah.
So I think that gives it puts it in perspective actually.
Yeah.
In terms of where you'd go with the Magnum, you obviously would score it a bit.
Yeah, I would score it higher, but definitely it has more improvement potential than the bottle.
Okay. Now, if we're going for dinner, lunch. It's morning. If we're going for lunch.
The first one, the bottle for breakfast. The
Magnum
for lunch.
Am I allowed to come? Brilliant. I think this is one of my favourite vintages of Pole for a long time, actually.
I agree.
I think it's precise, and I love the fact that it's got real purity. Thank you, Essi. We're going to run off to lunch and take the Magnum, and happy Friday, everybody. I hope you enjoy a glass of champagne. Cheers, Essi.